I'm very pleased to be joined on 14 with 15 this time around by Saskatoon native, former Continental Cup champion in 2021-22 with Cracovia Krakow, and interestingly, I found out goal scorer and game-winning goal scorer in that game as well in the final, Colin, against Aalborg, and current Fife Flyers number 15, Collin Shirley. Colin, thank you very much for agreeing to have a chat with me. How are you?
Doing well, yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on here on the podcast today, and I know it's something I always look forward to, getting to chat about hockey and the different things kind of going around throughout the league. So thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to the chat here.
Not at all. So for anyone who doesn't know, 14 with 14 as it normally is, 14 with 15 as it is this time, is a fairly new segment to the podcast. We hope that through chatting with the players who are wearing the symbols of the teams on their jerseys this year about things on and off the ice, that the fans get a different kind of insight and perspective on the players and their journey through hockey to where they are now. With all that in mind, Colin, if it's okay, I'm going to get started with the first question.
Absolutely. Shoot.
So first things first, what's your go-to coffee order?
Go-to coffee is obviously Tim Hortons. I'm a Canadian guy. I love Tim Hortons. I'm going with a double, just a medium. I don't like to get too crazy. Don't need no large. Don't need that extra sugar. I'm going double coffee. Also getting a Boston cream donut because Tim Hortons got the best donuts around. So that's the order most mornings back home in Saskatoon.
Nice. I'm a black dark roast with usually just a couple of Timbits, but that 30 box is just too hard to resist.
There we go. Yeah, you need some help with the 30 box. I like the 10. The 10's okay. I can do 10.
You might need help with the 30. I probably don't. Looking at hockey then, Colin, how did you come to hockey? How did you get started?
Yeah, so growing up in Saskatoon in Canada, I guess for a lot of people around these parts, Canada's huge. Like I'd say, you're in grade 2, 3, 4. You're growing up in elementary school. You got 20 people in your class. I bet you 12 to 13 of those kids are playing hockey. We'll say 14 for the matter of the podcast. But everyone's playing hockey in Canada. It's just a huge thing to do. I grew up with an older brother and two younger sisters, so every winter, Dad would get outside, make a rink in the backyard. I'd be out there flooding with them, and we had the rink for over 20 years. So it's grew up having those battles, that competition, those freezing toes. That's kind of where my love for the game started, and it hasn't changed at all. And I'm here today playing for the Fife Flyers, and I'm loving every minute of it. So it's been a long journey, but it's I wouldn't change a thing at all. It's been a great childhood growing up on the outdoor rinks, and something I really look back and am proud of, and really grateful for having that opportunity.
Pond hockey, something you hope your kids, if you have some, get into?
Yeah, absolutely. My dad's, I think he's 62 now, so I better have a few kids so he can come over and flood the rink here if he wants to do that with me. But absolutely, I think just looking back, it was just such a fun way to grow up. I think the times have changed. Obviously, there's the kids are doing things a little bit differently than we used to when we were younger. I mean, we were out there hours every single night. It was a thing to do. There was no real video games growing up or nothing like that in our house per se. So we loved it out there, and I hope to kind of continue that with my family one day.
Amazing. So looking now, I would normally ask someone why number 14, but this time obviously I'm going to ask you why number 15 this season with the Fife Flyers. Is 15 a number that has come with you? Has it got some special significance?
Yeah, so I was actually number 12 growing up. I love number 12. I like Joe McGinley. I love the way he played. He had the fire and the grit, and he was the captain of the Flames when I was growing up, which is a big team obviously in Canada. And for me, 15, I started wearing 15 when I got traded in my first year of junior. So I was 17 years old. I got traded to the Kamloops Blazers, and I got traded for a guy named Tim Bozon. He was a really good player. He played in France and Switzerland, a bunch of different places, and he was number 15. So I thought, hey, I better snag his number and try and run with it like that. So there was no crazy significance or nothing too sentimental, I guess. But I thought it was just kind of I admired him as a player. I knew he was a great player, and I wanted to do great things as well. So he kind of paved the way for me like that, and I thought, hey, better snipe his number. He took my spot in Kootenay, so I'll take his in Kamloops.
Very good. Away from hockey, then, Colin. What is your favorite movie or TV show? The thing that you'll watch over and over again.
Okay. So I would say, oh, that's a good question. It's a tough question because I'm a huge movie guy. But in terms of TV shows, I would probably have to say Breaking Bad. I think that was like the greatest TV show of all time. I think it was just I probably watched it. I don't even want to know how many times I've watched it. It's probably not good to bring that number up, but no, it's just I started watching it. I think maybe my 16 or 17-year-old season, and just loved it. Just loved the Walter White and the Jesse Pinkman and the whole crew there. So I thought that was such a good show, and kind of shared it. My dad loved the show too, so we watched that together, and all the buddies. So that's got to be at the top of my list for sure. For movies, I would have to say Rudy. I always loved Rudy. Underdog story, little guy. I'm pretty tall. I'm 6'2", but I always thought that was a pretty inspiring and great movie there. So
Nice. I always love when someone brings up Breaking Bad because my favorite piece of TV trivia is the moment Walt throws the pizza on the roof of
yeah,
the garage. That was never supposed to happen. He was
no,
supposed to throw it into the driveway, and it landed on the roof, and they kept it in the show.
just stayed there too, eh?
It stayed
Stayed
there,
there.
and now apparently the people who now own the house are consistently picking pizzas off the roof because
No
people
way.
drive by and throw pizzas on the roof of that house.
Come on, free pizza. I'm gonna have to move into that house
Well,
when I'm
free
done
roof
playing.
pizza.
Yeah, you don't know where that thing's been.
Exactly. Coming back to hockey then. You talked about your family, you talked about sort of growing up and where hockey came in. Who or what do you think's been the biggest influence on your hockey career to date so far?
I'd say my parents for sure. I think it's maybe a cliche or obvious answer, but for me, it was just going back to what I said about the rink. We just loved. We had a hockey family, so everyone. My grandpa played hockey, played for the Detroit Red Wings growing up, and he, kind of played all over the world, and just it's just in the family. I feel like it's a way. Every Christmas, everyone would come home. My sisters play in the NCAA, so they'd get home and we'd throw the skates on, and everyone just be together and enjoy it and have fun. And so I'd say my parents, obviously, they had 4 kids growing up, so they were busy. They were running us around to the rinks and spending all their time and money on us. So I think definitely them. I appreciate all they've done for me, and whenever they get to watch or get to play, I definitely have a little more jump in my step, and I'm real proud to be their son and still playing. So it's been great.
Amazing. So I want to take you to, let's say, a game day, a game night. You're in the locker room, and the team has said, right, you're DJ for pre-game in the locker room. What are you playing in the locker room to hype up the guys?
Okay, so I'm a country fan. I've always been a country fan coming from Saskatchewan. But we're going out. We're playing any team in the league. We got to get going. It's got to be Whiskey in the Jar by Metallica. I think that's all time. That'll get the boys going and get us off to the start we need, I think.
That entire album is just insane. I
It's
absolutely love that
wild.
album. It's amazing. Um, Looking back at your career then so far, you're only a few seasons pro now, so it's not an enormous career just yet. But is there a highlight moment that you've had to date so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they've all been like you said. I haven't been around for a terribly long time. I think this is my fourth season pro. Obviously, that year, like you'd mentioned before, the Continental Cup was so cool to be a part of. In Denmark, there we played Aalborg, and we ended up winning that game. I'd say that is right at the top of my list. With that year, we were also the Polish Cup champions, so we had a very successful season. That whole year was really special and really cool to be a part of because it was my first year in Europe, and I kind of just it was almost just a sit back moment and watch. And you're a part of it for sure, but it's just really amazing to actually win something and be a part of a winning team. So I'd have to say that's got to be my number one moment. Probably the Continental Cup. When we won the Continental Cup, we had ourselves a pretty good time in Alberg that night. So that was a lot of fun.
Gotta say, when I was doing a little bit of research for the interview, I found an interview that you gave post game, and it has to be said you speak incredibly well, in just exactly the same way that you did there. That it's, even though you scored the game winning goal, the championship goal, if you want to call it that, you spoke very much about how it was a team effort, and why it was good to get that early goal. That obviously wasn't the end of the game; it was an early goal in the game as well, and that seems to be a big part of sort of who you are on the ice and who you are in a team. Is that something that you've tried to sort of build into your game, or is that something that was brought in through your juniors?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just comes from just how you grow up. You don't want to be the center of attention, or you don't want to be the someone who's worried about scoring the big goals. You want to contribute in any way you can. I think that's a huge part of being a hockey player. But just team success. I think going back over the years, I've had very some individual success in certain seasons, but if that season doesn't go the way you want it to, or if you don't win, it's kind of an empty feeling at the end of the day. When you're with a team and you've accomplished something as a group, I think that's what feels the best. And when you look around the room, guys are happy and guys are celebrating together. I don't think there's any better feeling in hockey. You can score all the goals you want, or make all the nice plays, but in the end, you want to win, and you want to have that special bond that's going to last. You're going to be telling your kids about that one day. So I think that's the best part of hockey.
Yeah, amazing. Um, you said yourself, you're only in your fourth pro season, but this year in Fife, you're wearing the A. How are you finding that leadership role, and is that something you've always wanted to build into your career?
Um, to be honest with you, I've never really, I haven't cared too much about wearing an A or a C or anything like that. I have in junior, I was the captain my last year, and for me, it's not like a huge. It's no different. I think for myself, I'm a loud guy in the room. I like to mess around. I like to make sure guys are doing okay, and I think a big part of it is have you want to let everyone have a great experience. You don't want to have some guy come to the rink and not be having fun, or be down. So I think for me, it's just kind of being myself, enjoying every day, trying to lead by example more than anything. If you're not playing your best, or doing those little things that are going to make the team better, then there's no point of you talking or saying anything like that. So I I kind of just pride myself on just having fun, and being trying to be a good guy and trying to do the right thing day in and day out.
Amazing. So I'm going to give you a situation. Imagine Coach Collin comes to you as part of the leadership group in the team and says, "We need a team day. We need to get the guys all together." What sort of team day would you put together right now for the group that you've got in Kirkcaldy?
Okay. Well, number one, I would say get all the boys golfing, but we golf enough. So I would have to go with I think go down to Edinburgh. Edinburgh is one of the coolest cities I've been in across the pond anyway, and I think just get down there around 1 o'clock or so, go for a nice team lunch, maybe enjoy a beverage or two, and then I think a nice a 10-pin bowl. I always think bowling is fun with the boys, and you can have a few drinks, and it's nice where it's a good situation where you can get everyone together, and you're not in little separate groups. You can kind of go around and talk to everyone and have a good time, and then probably head out for a little dinner, and then just do a little pub hop. And I think when you're down in Edinburgh, I think it's just such a cool atmosphere. There's so many different cool pubs and places you can get to. So for a lot of guys that haven't been to Edinburgh, I definitely recommend it. It's an awesome spot, and it's just fun to be around with the teammates, and enjoy. I think enjoying a day like that would be a lot of fun.
Nice. Looking at your career then, do you have any sort of major aspirations for your career? And by that, is there a moment that you can see in your head, and it's that "I've made it" moment? Is there something that you see ahead of you that you want to reach?
No, there's not. I think, and not saying that as as I'm comfortable where I am, or I'm just good enough with being where I am. It's more of a just kind of being grateful for what I've had and what I've got to see and accomplish. And you're getting paid to play the game you love. So I think there's no obviously you want to have aspirations and different dreams and goals, but I think for me it's just been such a cool ride. I mean, I got my university done after junior hockey, and then from there I went to Allen, Texas. I got to see down south. It was very hot down there. I don't know how people do it full time. I got to go. I played a year in Poland, in Krakow. I was in Budapest last year, and now I'm in Scotland this year, and just I'm just happy with experiencing different parts of the world. I love playing the game every day. I love to compete. I love to win. So for me, it's just kind of taking it day by day and seeing where hockey takes me, because so far it's been pretty great, and I got no regrets in terms of the hockey side or where I am now.
Okay. So away from the game, then, if you need to get your head away from the game for a while or over the summer, how do you switch off from hockey? How do you put it to one side? What do you do?
Yeah, so I think that's the tough part, because especially after if you got a tough game or something like that, that can linger a long time. I know I've had nights where you're up till 2:30, 3 o'clock after a game, and you're thinking about this play and that. And for me, I think it's just kind of taking a step back, maybe giving my dad a call, or talking to my fiance about different things. And so for me, I think it's just trying to step away from it, try and talk to different people. In the summertime, I like to golf. I don't go on the ice a ton in the summer. I train pretty hard, but for me, I get more excited and more. I guess my love for the game kind of comes back after that 4 or 5 months. So I like to kind of stay off the ice as much as I can. I like to golf, just enjoy family time, and I think that's a big thing for me is being with the family. And even though we all play in hockey, when we're together, we're not talking about it a ton. We got other stuff going on. So I think it's a nice escape for me. But that being said, there's not too many times where I'm not thinking about it and it's not going through my head.
Golf seems to factor quite a bit. Was that a big factor in coming across to Scotland and especially to Kirkcaldy? If you managed to get out in a couple of the links courses?
Yeah, been out to a few. We got out to Fairmont a few weeks ago. Played Leven, and some cool places around here. I think it was a factor, but but I'd heard so much more, so many great things about the organization and the classic Old Barn, and different things like that. I've had buddies who've played here in the past, and they've just really loved kind of the culture of Scotland, and just the area. Like you got the Highlands up here and all those different spots you can get to. So it was definitely something. I like to play golf. I'm not the greatest golfer around, but it's I've got a few rounds in this year, which has been fun. But obviously, first and foremost is the hockey, and kind of just taking in the culture and enjoying the beautiful scenery Scotland has to offer.
Awesome. Um, Pre-game, then, Colin, what does build up to a game look like for you in particular? Do you have any rituals that you like to follow? I think fans all seem to think that players are all this superstitious bunch. We hear about probably the one or two that have to do exactly the same thing leading up to game time. Are you one of those guys, or do you just take it easy in the lead up to face off?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the day. If I'm for the most part, like I'll get up early. I like to either go for a walk or kind of get to the gym in the morning, just do like a little stretch. And I think I bet you 95% of the guys playing in this league are taking their pregame naps. So I like to nap before the games, but to be honest with you, I don't have a ton. I don't have a ton of crazy superstitions. I have my coffee at the rink before the game. I do my stretching. I listen to the same music, I guess, when I'm warming up. But other than that, I like to. I don't like to take it too serious. I think I've had times in my career where you try and focus and you're trying to do the same things all the time, and if something doesn't go right, then you're kind of thrown in a bit of a blender. So for me, I have more fun playing the game when I don't. I know it sounds bad, but when I don't care as much, if that makes sense, or if I'm not so worried about what I need to do, I just like to relax and play the game. Been playing it for over 20 years. So at this point, if you don't know what's going on or what you're doing, then you probably shouldn't be playing. So for me, it's very relaxed. It's can change from day to day. If I'm feeling a little sick, I'll probably sleep about 4 or 5 hours for my nap. That's about it.
I wish I could sleep 4 or 5 hours, but with an
Yeah,
18-month-old, that just doesn't happen.
yeah,
Collin, you're a Saskatchewan native. You're sandwiched between Alberta and Manitoba with their NHL franchises, and I think you might have already answered this question earlier on in the interview, but do you have an NHL team that you follow or that you grew up following, and if so, why them?
yeah. So I actually this is off the board, but the Colorado Avalanche are my team. I grew up loving Burnaby Joe, Mr. Rister, Joe Sakic. He's my favorite player of all time growing up. Milan Hayduk, Peter Forsberg, all those guys, Patrick Roy when they were winning the cup there. And that's been my team. My buddies around back home in Saskatoon all love Colorado. My dad's a Montreal fan. My fiance's dad is a huge Winnipeg Jets fan, so I've kind of been watching them a little bit more. But yeah, I enjoy watching the game. I think the Leafs are so fun to watch. The Oilers are so fun to watch. They've been struggling this year, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of good hockey. Like Canada's teams are starting to make a push, and hopefully they can find themselves deeper in the playoffs. I know it's been a struggle for the last few years, but it's no, I love to watch the game. It's a little bit tougher when you're over here with the time change, but on those, I'm usually catching those Sunday afternoon ones anyways. So, but Colorado's my team through and through.
I'll ask you the $1 million question follow up to that then. Is it the Cup this year?
I think they got a great shot. I think so. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Colorado Avalanche 2024 Stanley Cup champions. I'm not gonna get a tattoo or nothing this early like some of those tweets you
Nice.
see, but
I'll put a couple of pound on it, and
yeah.
if it comes through a winner, then I'll give you a percentage.
Okay, sounds deal.
Colin, I've got one more question to wrap up. Then, if you could go back and give 10-year-old you one piece of advice, one single piece of advice, what would it be?
That's a good question. Um, I would just say to make sure you're enjoying every day playing hockey. I think it's crazy to think about. I'm 20, turning 28 this year. I feel good. I still love to play, but I think it goes by so fast. Like it's just ridiculous how it's fourth year pro already. I did my 5 years junior, 4 years university. Like it goes by in the blink of an eye. It's cliche. I know you've heard it a million times, but you can probably attest to it. Like it's crazy how fast, not even hockey, but life goes by. So I think I'd probably tell myself to just enjoy it, take it all in, don't complain, have fun doing what you're doing, and everything you do, just give it your all and enjoy it. I think that would be the piece of advice I give myself.
It's good advice. Colin, massive thank you for giving up your time to chat to us and giving us an insight to you both on and off the ice. And good luck for the rest of the season with the Flyers.
Thanks a lot, John. Thanks for having me. That was great chatting.